morning, dear YouTube friends. Thanks so much for coming by. I am so excited to share this video with you today. I am going to take you on a tour of my newly revamped pottery studio. If you didn't know this about me, I do have a degree in ceramics and I've been making pots for a long time here and there. I had a little hand building studio that I made downstairs when we moved in here, but I very recently was able to purchase some gently used equipment. I've got a new wheel, a new kiln, and a bunch of new tools, and I revamped the whole thing and I would love to show it to you. Also, because you know vegan recipes are my jam, I am adding in a little bonus recipe for a chai tea concentrate that you can enjoy hot or iced. So keep on watching to see all the things. Okay guys, we are headed downstairs past Steve's music room and headed to the studio. I feel like we are on a very dusty and low budget episode of MTV Cribs right now. Enjoy. Okay guys, welcome to my little space. Figured we'd start with these sweet built-in shelves here. They were here when we moved in. I imagine they were for some sort of food storage, which we do have. Thanks to Steve's parents, we've got a whole bunch of apricot nectar that'll last us a while. And some other craft stuff of Steve's and a little bit of like garage type stuff towards the back. But as far as ceramic stuff goes, I've got all my kiln supplies here. I've got some glazes, mason stains, a whole lot of sponges, my Giffen grip, my respirator, some cleaning supplies. This is what I use most often. These are my little stencils that I like to sponge designs on platters and mugs and such. I'm really into, I love old-fashioned type flowers, bees of course, one of my faves. Honeycomb. Who doesn't love this pattern? I think it's become a little popular, but I'm still using it because I love it so much. Moving on this way, this little bin has nothing to do with pottery. It is actually my worm bin. So we have good worm poop for our garden area. Hopefully you can see in there. There's a bunch of little red wigglers in there. Moving on. Next, we've got our mold pouring station here. I've got a whole bunch of molds. I've made some of them. I've acquired some of them at secondhand stores, ordered some online. This giant, amazing mold I actually got when I bought the kiln and the wheel the other day. So I'm stoked to be using it. Then we've got our slips, some photos, some ceramic books. We've got our extra bands and things for our molds here. Now we are moving on. Get this out of the way here. Got bags everywhere to keep stuff wet. Moving on to our sweet hand building table. My bonus dad, Dan, made this for me for Christmas a couple years ago, and it's fabulous. It's the perfect height for me, so I can work pretty big and be standing, which is amazing. I've also got some inspiration here for things that I like to make. This is one of my favorite things. My dad made me this when I was a little kid. It's a little pencil holder, but I use it for all of my sharp tools. And my banding wheel, which is great for hand building. If you want to see my favorite tool, like truly, I made this in mold making class probably 10 years ago. It's a little scoring tool made from epoxy putty and pins. It's awesome. If you ever want to know how to make it, I would happily make a video. This thing is so rad. I need like 10 of them, so I keep it up here so I know where it's at. Also, I like to work a lot with texture when I'm hand building, so I've got some, I like to press lace in. I'm totally an old lady at heart. I love lace, old flowers, anything along those lines. Also, we've got some badass ladies here give me inspiration. And traveling, as you know, one of my giant passions. And next up, as they say, this is where the magic happens. I've got my new wheel. I'm so stoked. I also made a little mural of my untamed olive with some sponged old-fashioned flowers. Working on my wheel throwing skills. Like I said, I'm mostly a hand builder, but I've been having so much fun practicing. Got a ridiculous amount of clay to practice with, so stay tuned for some more pieces. I've also got my little drying rack here. This really cute Buddha I'd love to make a mold out of sooner than later so I can work on some garden art here. Yeah, that's a little tour. Stay tuned for some chai recipe action. Thanks for watching. Okay guys, this chai concentrate is super simple to make. Makes a ton so you can keep it in the fridge and have it whenever you'd like it, hot or iced. So I've just got 2 quarts of water that I'm pouring into this pot here, and I'm going to bring it to a boil. So this recipe is kind of like a modified masala chai recipe with add-ins that I think make it taste really good. So it's not entirely traditional. So I've got some green cardamom pods here that I'm adding to my mortar and pestle. I believe the mortar is the bowl. Correct me if I'm wrong. Just tossing them in here. You can just do this with the back of a knife if you don't have one of these. But I'm just going to crush them really ever so slightly so we can get the pods open to release those little black seeds. I'll show you what they look like in a second. And these are so fragrant. The second you start to open them, fills the room with that yummy, yummy cardamom smell. So that's what the seeds look like. They're just like little black little seeds there. So I'm pouring them back into our ingredients. We also have some whole clove, some black pepper, a whole thing of nutmeg, some ginger. The one thing that I like to add in is turmeric. It doesn't really mess with the flavor too much, but it has tons of anti-inflammatory properties, so I love adding a little bit of that. We also have some cinnamon sticks. So I'm adding this to our water that we've just started to boil. I've turned it down to a simmer now as I'm adding all of our spices. And we're gonna let this steep with a lid on it for 15 minutes. Seriously though, just for the smells, it's worth it to make this recipe. My house smells amazing right now. Okay, so after 15 minutes, we're gonna add some loose leaf black tea. I've got 4 heaping tablespoons of an organic black tea. I love me some Lipton tea, don't get me wrong, but for a recipe like this, I like to get a little bit more fancy and get a higher grade tea. So this is just one I found at Natural Grocers. And now that that's steeped for about 5 minutes, I'm going to strain it into another pot and try not to make a giant mess, which is not really my style. Get that all strained out. We're going to put all those scraps in our compost pile, which is wonderful. And then we're going to strain it again. I know myself and knew I couldn't pour directly from the pan into this jar. So I've got a 2-quart jar and a smaller sieve. I'm pouring it into one of these little quart containers because I can squeeze them a little bit and pour it a little bit more easily. So we're getting all of those fine little bits out of our chai concentrate. And that is literally it. At this point, you could add some sweetener. Maple syrup is awesome, brown sugar, coconut sugar, honey if you're into it. But I like to keep it unsweetened because sometimes I just don't want it very sugary and it makes it way better for you. Or you can add your own non-calorie sweetener as you make your chai, which is what I prefer to do. So just throw this big jar in your fridge. It'll last up to 3 weeks in there. Not that it'll last that long because I'm pretty sure you'll drink it before then if you're anything like me. So to make myself a little latte, I've got a small saucepan here, and the ratio that I really like to do is about 2/3 of the chai mixture, I just eyeball it, to 1/3 non-dairy milk. I prefer unsweetened soy because it foams up better for me, but a lot of people, I know Steve loves it with oat milk. Coconut milk is amazing too. You can get a really nice thick and decadent chai out of it. So once we've added our milk and we have come to a simmer, we'll be ready to froth on up our little chai. Side note, I did add a teaspoon of Swerve non-calorie sweetener because apparently I can't live without it. And it makes it the perfect amount of sweetness. But use whatever you prefer. If you have a steamer, I highly recommend you use it. Totally unnecessary, But buzzing this guy up in our frother is gonna give us just a little bit of foam and make it just like a coffee shop chai, right in the convenience of your own home. I got this on Amazon. I can link below where I got it if you're interested. Worth its weight in gold. It's one of my most favorite kitchen pieces of equipment, I guess you would say. So once we're buzzed on up, we're just gonna pour it into a mug here. And since we got fancy with the foam, I figure we may as well grate a little bit of fresh nutmeg on top. It makes it that much more delicious. So while I enjoy this fabulous latte, which by the way, you can totally have iced since it's kind of more of an ice season right now. You can just pour the concentrate and whatever non-dairy milk you'd like over ice with any sweetener of your choice, and it's the perfect iced chai. Anyway, I'm outside because I wanted to show you the kiln. So this is our little garage slash toy shed. We've got our bikes, our kayaks, Steve's generator, camping supplies, and this little beauty, my new electric kiln. We do have electricity out here and we're working on figuring out the right amount of power, but I believe this is where the kiln is gonna live. It's a cute little Scott electric kiln. It's the perfect size for me. Totally completes my studio. I honestly never thought I'd be an owner of a kiln. This is so badass. So this is where it's gonna live and this is where I'm gonna fire. Stay tuned for more videos of me firing some pots. Thank you so much for watching, guys. And if you made it this far in the video, cheers. Thanks for watching. I so enjoyed showing you all of my new pottery stuff. I can't wait to show you some pottery videos if you're interested in it. And of course, some more vegan recipes. I hope that you're staying safe and healthy, and I can't wait to talk to you soon. Cheers.